your whiskey neat. The lights were dimmed as our eyes met and you saw me. And forevermore, I'd like to share that vintage dream. And forevermore, we're living in that vintage dream.
I'm thirsty. He grinned as he stumbled through the bar. Well, he said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. His breath really said it all. His car was parked behind the back door. Tuxedo black, El Camino, 1969. Well, he said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. Filthy fingers say it all. Yeah. Give it all. Well, he said, give me some love, give me some love, give it all. His lazy eyes say it all. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Well, he said, give me some love. Some love, give it all. Give me some love, give me some love, give it all. He said, give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Alright, give it to me. Yeah. Alright, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, come on, come on, come on, come on. Give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Baby, give me some love. Well, na 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 na.
Hear it on the phone. If you got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face. You're sorry. And I quit my job for you, even quit some friends for you, 'cause you couldn't stand it, me all independent, so you had to have me for yourself. That was when I trusted you, when I could add up 2 and 2, when you promised we'd be together, you, me, forever. Now there's nothing left to lose. And though I understand it's hard sometimes to make up your mind in these trying times, yeah, I just can't accept you leaving me when I'm overseas with the heart so heavy. Think that I deserve the truth for once, not a guilty tone, 'cause you're not alone, yeah. You said you wanna come home, but I know you don't. So this time I won't hear it on the phone. If you got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face. You're sorry. The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Today is Friday. It is February 11th, 2022. Thank you so much for joining us at the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Today is the Act Television, Act.TV Takeover. We will be joined throughout this episode by our partners over at Act TV. We will be providing you with so much more information about them. We are excited about that partnership. We haven't had a chance to discuss it a whole lot. And so we're going to be joined by several of our partners today to discuss the being on the cutting edge of media in this fight for liberation. I want to bring in my brother, Dr. Carl Mack, into the conversation. As always, it is a pleasure to speak with you early in the morning. How goes the day?
Good, my brother. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning. We're watching quite a few stories. One that jumped on our radar this morning or last night, and we're going to be covering some political stories. Obviously, we'll be joined by Georgia Fort. She'll be joining us for On the Clock as we discuss the ongoing, I dare call it another saga of Black life being taken in the case of Amir Locke, fighting for justice for Amir Locke. She'll be joining us with an update for that. And of course, we'll be joined by DJ Exclusive with all of the other things that are going on around the country and culture. Brother Mac, as always, we begin here with Black history. So let's do what we always do. Hey, Google, what happened today in Black history?
On February 11th, 1920, Daniel Chappie James Jr. was born in Pensacola, Florida. A graduate of Tuskegee Institute, he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Army Air Corps program. During World War II, James prepared a group of Black pilots for combat, the all-Black 99th Pursuit Squadron, better known as the Tuskegee Airmen. In 1975, James became America's first Black four-star general and the highest-ranking Black man in United States military history. Adapted from Black Heritage Day 4 calendar by author, lecturer, and civil rights activist Dr. Carl Mack.
Dr. Mack.
And so, Ben, one of the other things that you should remember about Chappie is there was an actor, Lou Gossett, who played an air pilot instructor, and his name was Chappie. And so that's where that name came from. And so the other thing that we have to remember about Chappie is, again, as you heard, he went to Tuskegee. He helped train that 99th, some of the men that became members of the Tuskegee Airmen. And he was forced into retirement because of a heart problem. And a couple of weeks after his retirement, ultimately, he died. But you talk about a man that was an absolutely outstanding serviceman to this country. And his list of awards include a Distinguished Service Medal, two of those, as a matter of fact, 2 Legion of Merit medals, Distinguished Flying Cross. He received 3 of those, Meritorious Service Medal, and 14 Air Medals. So we're talking about a man who had absolute control of that airplane. So if ever there was a pilot who could be considered Top Gun, it was Daniel Chappie James.
Wow, that is something. Yeah. Dr. Mack, there's so much I don't know about Black history because there's so much Black history that is not taught to us. And I honestly, it's my first time hearing about this brother. I do know the Louis Gossett character. So when you put it in the context of that, I'm like, okay, I can make a connection there. But in terms of pieces of our history, this is a distinguished serviceman to this country. And for a country that flies a flag as high as it flies it, why, we should hear about these type of guys and the people.
Yeah. And one of the things that we have to remember, and again, this goes back to, let me just tie this piece together about the 4th of July, if you will. So the 4th of July is a celebration in which we celebrate America's independence. We have to understand, and the reason why I do support the 4th of July is because the red in that flag represents the blood, the sacrifice that was made by others to protect and defend this country. And there has not been a war that has been fought in this nation that we have not been an integral part of. And that includes the war that gave birth to America, the war for independence. You go back and look at all of the Blacks that fought during the American Revolution and every other war. So come the 4th of July, because I know this history, how is it that I won't celebrate? When I look at the red in that flag, I don't see the red that say white folks see. I see the red Daniel James Jr. I see the Red of Crispus Attucks, the first man to die in defense of this country. I see Prince Hall, Salem Poor, Peter Salem. I see all of these Black soldiers who fought in the very first war that established America in every war since that time. So I will say to people, do not try to use Frederick Douglass's "What to the Negro is the 4th of July." When you get inside that speech, that is a whole different method of what he was talking about. But again, people want to use that and say, well, we should not celebrate the 4th of July. Well, if we want to claim America, how do you not claim being a part of the war that established America? And now say that you're not going to support it. So that is what history does. It allows me to celebrate the 4th of July because of the Black blood that was shed in that war and every war since. So Ben, the other thing, and if you don't mind, I'd like to take a point of personal privilege because we talk about Black History Month. And of course, we won't be on the air tomorrow. And if we were on the air tomorrow, this is what we would hear. We would hear about the man who actually founded Black History Month, Dr. Carter G. Woodson. So as a point of personal privilege, if you don't mind, I'd like to read what is in Black Heritage Day about Dr. Woodson. He was born in New Kent, Virginia on December 19, 1875. Dr. Carter G. Woodson is the founder of Black History Month. He completed his PhD in history at Harvard University in 1912, thus becoming the first Black who was a direct descendant of parents who were enslaved to achieve such a distinction. Now, I didn't say he was the first Black to get a PhD from Harvard. He was the first Black who was a direct descendant of slaves to get a PhD from Harvard. In 1915, he was instrumental in the formation of the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. And in 1921, he established Associated Publishers. And these two organizations, they had 4 primary goals. One was to promote the writing and research of Black history. Number 2 was to promote the publishing of Black literature. 3, to promote the study of Black history. And 4, to promote the collection of Black manuscripts. He is the author of such books as The Education of the Negro Prior to 1861, A Century of Negro Migration, The Negro in Our House, and one of his more famed books, The Miseducation of the Negro. His greatest legacy remains to initiate the recognition of February as Black History Month. He selected the month of February in honor of 2 men, Abraham Lincoln, who was born on this day, which will be tomorrow, February 12th, and Frederick Douglass, whose birthday was February 14th. But now let me tell you this about Frederick. Like many of those who were enslaved, Frederick didn't know the exact date of his birthday, but when he was a child, his mother used to call him My Little Valentine. So Frederick Douglass chose February 14th as his birthday. And if it was good enough for Frederick, it'll be good enough for us. The first observance of what is now Black History Month was called Negro History Week, which occurred during the second week of February of 1926. They replaced the word Negro with the word Black, and it became Black History Week all the way up until the mid-70s. And in 1976, President Gerald Ford was the first sitting president to now recognize the entire month of February as Black History Month. So on April 3rd, 1950, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history, a member of Omega Psi Phi, recorded his final historical chapter. However, his historical legacy shall live forever. So tomorrow we honor the founder of Black History Month, Dr. Carter G. Woodson.
Dr. Mack, I was riding with my family last night, and my my kids asked, why did we pick or who picked and how did February come about to be Black History Month? And yes. I was able to, insert myself into the conversation as an expert on Carter G. Woodson and rattle off all the things that I honestly learned from your calendar. BlackHeritageDays.com is where they can get the calendar, correct?
Absolutely. And Ben, that is the whole purpose of it. So the fact that Black Heritage Days enable you to educate your children as to how February became Black History Month, because the fact of the matter, I got tired of hearing jokes from comedians and we wanted to blame white folks for everything. So we would say they gave us the coldest and shortest month out of the year. No, they didn't give us anything. A Black man, Dr. Woodson, chose the month of February. And now you know why he chose that second week in February in honor of Lincoln and in honor of Frederick Douglass. So therein lies the history of it. Daniel Chappie James, your day, and tomorrow we celebrate that of Dr. Woodson.
Man, and then Frederick Douglass shortly thereafter. So a very important weekend in Black history. And I forgot who I was talking to. Young sister said not only Black History Month, but Black Future Month. Because it's from the past that we can project and propel ourselves into the future. You mentioned something about comedians. Let's go ahead and dig into this conversation about Dave Chappelle that is brewing. There have been reports and now video has come showing Dave Chappelle standing against a particular development happening in his community. Now, I want to contextualize it. This is his home. And so, yeah, this is going to be something he's going to be active on. A lot of people disagree with the side that he's on. So I just want to read this a little bit from the article. And before we play the clip, this is from the Dayton Daily News. Multiple Yellow Springs villagers, including entertainer Dave Chappelle, lobbied against the project being the development project that was going to bring multiple units, including some low-income housing. Chappelle even threatened to pull his business interests from the village, which included a plan for a restaurant called Firehouse Eatery. That's Chappelle's company, Iron Table Holdings, they purchased this company and they're going to invest in the community. Chappelle is using his personal capital as protest against this particular development, not the entire development, but the low income housing portion of it. We have some clips, but before we go there, Brother Mac, I don't know how much you're following this, but I want to get some of your thoughts if you are.
Well, first of all, I think that when you get inside the particulars of that article, the headline itself reminds me of the way that the police filed their report and what their claim is until you look at the video camera and you see that what they put in the police report isn't very accurate. So we have used the quote by Dr. King, which says that the purpose of education is to save man from the morass of propaganda. And what we know morass to mean is a very complex situation. And it is clear to me that the headlines used in this particular case is used for sensationalism, and they paint Dave Chappelle in a very negative light, which isn't a very true situation as we peel the onions back of this somewhat complicated situation, this morass, if you will. So I think that when a person simply looks at the headline, they assume that Dave Chappelle is against affordable housing. And as far as I'm concerned, based on what Chappelle has said and based on what I read, nothing could be further from the truth, but we can get into it now.
Okay, so let's play a couple of clips. I think the first clip that we have is the village of Yellow Springs, Ohio, in their vote to kill an affordable housing component. That's the headline that we have. But let's see it and hear it for ourselves.
Hi, I'm Dave Chappelle. I just want to say, and Marianne, I could talk to you about this privately. I don't know why the village council would be afraid of litigation from a $24 million a year company while they X out a $65 million a year company. I cannot believe you would make me audition for you. You look like clowns. I am not bluffing. I will take it all off the table. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So
let me give a couple of more notes here before we go any further. This is again from the Dayton Daily News. The development that council voted on Monday night would have included 64 single-family houses, 52 duplexes, 24 townhomes, with an additional 1.75 acres to be donated to the community for affordable housing to be built later. With the proposal rejected, the zoning reverts to what was previously approved with 143 single family units on the lot, with the home starting at about $300,000, according to village documents. The village annexed about 34 acres of the land into the village last summer. Those are some particular details about the deal. But Brother Mac, you've dug into this, sounds like it.
Well, and again, that's part of the situation that we have to look at is the affordable. First of all, when you think about affordable housing, the housing that they're talking about putting in Those price ranges go from anywhere from $250,000 up to $600,000. Now, there's nothing that says affordable housing at those prices. That's number one. Number two, what they're talking about is the city that we're talking about is Yellow Springs, Ohio. Now, I've never gone to Yellow Springs, Ohio, but based on what I've read about it, it appears that there's a certain, I'm going to use the adjective motif. You know, there's a certain flair, that a certain style that the city has, a certain culture, a certain look that it has. And now what you have is a developer who's coming in and saying, no, I just want to build these houses, sprawl these houses out across there. So maybe it's the look of this of Yellow Springs that is in part of why Chappelle is opposed to it. That's number one. Number two, as an engineer, I used to work on the design and build up of wastewater treatment facilities. So what happened in Seattle is all of a sudden you had this influx of people coming from everywhere to now take up residence in the greater Seattle area. So as you know, on one hand, you welcome in all these people, home prices are going up, all these things are happening, but you didn't have an infrastructure in place to deal with all these people. Now, I'm talking roads. So in a drive that used to take you 15, 20 minutes, now all of a sudden it's taking you 50 plus minutes because your roads can't handle the number of people who are now moved into the area, because as an urban planner, you didn't prepare for that. So traffic became an issue as it becomes, as we deal with wastewater treatment. Now, if you ever been to Seattle, you know that Seattle is God's country. There are beautiful mountains, there's beautiful lakes, there's Elliott Bay, Puget Sound, all of these. So now imagine a wastewater treatment facility that is built to handle a certain amount of people. Well, when that you start having even more people come in, and now everybody's flushing their toilets, and that wastewater treatment facility cannot handle the raw sewage that is coming into it. Guess where that raw sewage is going, Ben? It's going into beautiful Lake Washington. It's going into beautiful Elliott Bay. It's going into Puget Sound. Right here in D.C., if as D.C. started growing and you didn't accommodate it for infrastructure, all of a sudden, when you flushed the toilet, instead of it going to the wastewater treatment facility, it was going to the Potomac River. So the infrastructure, safety, schools, the design of the city. So on its face, Dave Chappelle said, this developer is just coming in here saying he just wants to build all these homes, not caring about the safety, not caring about traffic, not caring about infrastructure. And then of all the plots they had, I believe that they said that they had 143 plots. Of the 143 plots, only 3 of them were designed for quote unquote affordable housing, and they were to be built in the future. So see, now when you start talking about 143 lots, and of those 143, only 3 were supposed to be quote unquote affordable housing. So the headline is very misleading. And the reason they use that headline is because it is Dave Chappelle. They knew. Now, if you want to talk about a capitalistic society, if I'm running a newspaper and I want people to come to my site and read about this and let my article be the talk of the town, well, let me paint Dave Chappelle as a person who is against affordable housing. Nothing could be further from the truth. And I think Dave Chappelle and his publicist made a statement to the fact that, no, Dave Chappelle is not against affordable housing. On his face, he was against the nonsense that this developer wanted to come in and take the look and feel of Yellow Springs, Ohio, and simply says, no, I'm going to acquire this amount of land. I'm going to come in and I'm going to build all these homes. I'm going to get my money. I don't care about the infrastructure of the city. I don't care about the safety. I don't care about traffic. I don't care about anything. I just want to come in there and get my money. And now, fine, we could use Dave Chappelle as saying he's against affordable housing, which isn't going to be built. And these homes that they're talking about, I'll remind you, these homes range in price from $250,000 to $600,000 in Ohio. Ain't nothing affordable about that, Ben. So I think the headline is very misleading.
Okay, let me ask. I need to get a point of information here, David. I was trying to hit you up in Slack. What is the state of the project? Did the entire project get suspended, or just the? Help us understand that part.
As far as I understand it, I haven't seen any changes since the night that the vote came out. And that the video came out, the community or the board voted it down following Chappelle and others speaking out at that meeting. So as it currently stands, I believe it said in that article too, because the proposal was rejected, the zoning reverts to what was previously approved. So that's going to be 143 single-family homes on the lot, with homes starting at about $300,000, according to the documents of the village. The village had annexed 34 acres of land into the village last summer.
So they're still going ahead. How many?
They're going ahead with development, but it won't be with it doesn't include the affordable housing proposals.
And again, Ben, remember when we see the affordable housing, when they put that piece in, if you're talking about 143 lots, they're talking about three of those lots being quote unquote affordable housing. So see, that was just part. And the other thing that was happening is, and I'm not sure that that the developer's plan has even been approved, that the original plan had been approved. And so that is part of what Chappelle and others are talking about, is that this developer comes in and just lays out this sprawl of just throwing houses up everywhere. And so they have a problem with it affecting the look of it. So I don't even believe that this developer has a plan that has been approved. And so now the developer is wanting to file a lawsuit. And Chappelle is saying, okay, you're talking about a developer with 24 million. I got a company of $65 million a year that's bringing the business. And so if you want to go ahead and approve a plan that affects the look and feel of Yellow Springs, Ohio, against not only my wishes, but everybody else's wishes, then I'll pull all of my business out. And for anybody who thinks that if trust and believe, Ben, if I was putting $65 million into the Benjamin Dixon Show and I wanted you to talk about a certain thing and you didn't want to talk about it, trust and believe, I'm going to flex that $65 million that I'm putting inside the Benjamin Dixon Show, even though now this is a hypothetical because I ain't putting one penny into the Benjamin Dixon Show. But
hey, this man won't even show up to the production meetings. Let's get that straight. Let's get it on the record here, folks. Dr. Mack said, Brother Mack got mad at me one day. He said, man, I can't do this, man. He said, I need to know what's going on the show before I get to the show. And I said, well, Brother Mack, you know, we got production meetings every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I could text you the link. He said, I ain't coming to no damn production meeting.
Now, Ben, I do want to add this one piece. We were supposed to have maps, but we didn't. Unfortunately, didn't make it so that we could have it on screen. There's been multiple people. It's not verified. It's not in the actual media reporting, but the media may not be reporting it. So one specific tweet we saw was from @JAH Complex, JAH Complex on Twitter. They said Dave and the entire community are opposed to the rezoning of green space that would increase the density from rural to suburban. Housing developers donating a few acres of land to the village they could later use to build a few duplexes. Yellow Springs is a rural community of 4,000. So just for a little bit of context of the conversation, whether or not that's the real objection over versus anything else, it's unconfirmed, but you know, we want this to be as rich as possible.
So I'm piecing this together. We're getting ready to go to our first break. DJ Exclusive is here, and when he starts playing the music, that means I only got 30 seconds to wrap it up. I'm gonna do better, DJ Exclusive. We're gonna continue this conversation through the day. Here's the linchpin for me. What I'm trying to hear is, what is the true objection? If I could get to the true objection of Dave Chappelle, then I can make my conclusion, right? We'll talk about it a little bit more. We'll be back with more of the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show right after this.
Good morning, people. Y'all know who it is. This is Roy James of the Williams DJ Exclusive in the building. He called me the Sandman from now on. Here to make sure these suckers stay on time. Good morning, everybody. Happy birthday, Snoop the Dragon. Happy birthday, Snoop the Dragon. Shout out everybody in the building this morning, y'all. Good to see everybody. Good morning, y'all. G-Man, what's going on? Shelby H. Afraid Not. Juanita A.R. Walker. Brother Chuck Diesel. It's in the building. Brother Latif. Good morning, Latif. Good morning, Mama and Daddy. Good morning. Love y'all, me. That's the road Christopher Shaw, good morning. Mix B, what's going on, B? PGMG, Tiger, what's going on? Stoic, good morning. Dennis Wilson, what's going on? This is Looking For by Looking For. That's what it says. Yeah, Looking For. Purposes Manifest, good morning. Nicole Howe. Darren Savage, Jesus Savage. Hey, good morning. Please Dragon Daddy, Miss Snoop, good morning. Courtney the SLP, patron party. Courtney, don't forget patron party tonight. Jan Brenner. Jan, I got it right this morning. Sunny Wright, good morning to you. Roller Dragon. What's going on? Sophie, what's up? Alicia. Good morning, sister. On and on it goes. Good morning. Indian Brown. Bryce Blackwell, good morning.
Gotta hit the beat.
Hollywood 2000, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Make sure y'all stay tuned. On the clock, it's starting up next week. Georgia Fort, y'all don't want to miss it. Make sure that y'all stay tuned, y'all. Good morning, everybody.
I got it. I got it.
This next joke is for Truth the Dragon on her birthday. Truth the Dragon. My son was chewing on electrical cords, so I had to ground him. He is doing better currently in conducting himself properly. That's gonna go over a lot of y'all here.
Bullshit dripping off the chin. All night long.
Tempo, you here for the jokes to me too. Good morning to you. My friend lost his car. I call him Carlos. Hey, B, good morning. E-Week, good morning to you. KFC, what's going on, brother? Christopher Shaw, good morning. Tyler Hackman, what's going on? Cross Banana, good morning.
I gotta hit the
Mark Fisher, good morning. Laney Lou, what's going on?
Like they're bringing anything to the table. Bro, I'm not your son, see I'm able. I do my own
Randy Rubble, good morning.
Limited dissonance and missing classic shit. I know that you're feeling it. Feel mad, cold nights feel heavy. Same place going in the heart of the city. Nitty gritty feels iffy and the eyes feel shifty. The shit we're in, yo.
I had a date last night. It was perfect. I'm not gonna lie, it was perfect. Tomorrow I try great.
girls, bullshit dripping off the chin. All night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls, bullshit dripping off the chin.
Good morning to you. What's going on? Good morning.
I gotta hit the beat.
Michael Finney, welcome to Like It or Not, the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show here. Here where we tell the truth and not care who doesn't like him, Michael Finney. So the background music is just too much, man. I can barely hear the announcer. Well, this must clearly be your first time here, buddy. So, welcome.
Bad little flex, she wanna know me.
Can you hear me now, Michael? Michael, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Michael? Too goddamn bad. This is my goddamn show. You know. Good morning, everybody. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. On the Clock with Georgia 4 is coming up next. Pixie on the moon, good morning to you. Lunch break hot take. Nicole, how good morning. All right, that sounds like a plan. I love it when the plan come together. Mary C, good morning. Y'all welcome back to the stream. Benjamin Dixon, and of course, our sister from another mister, Georgia Ford, and of course, Dr. Carl Mack. Good morning, y'all.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. Ben, I am only here because I love y'all and it's Friday. Because you know what? A sister's tired. I'm tired.
I wasn't ready, Georgia. I asked Sister Ford, I'm like, you know, because truth be told, Sister Ford, we know that you are stay on the front lines of the most serious issues. And it's a heavy weight, but you were gonna stay in the bed this morning. So good morning. Thank you so much for being here.
It was one of those mornings, you know, when you lay in bed and you go through all of the excuses. What's the reason to call in today? You know, and I didn't want to do that to y'all. So I was like, let me just get up. Let me just, you know, hop on here, hop online real quick and say TGIF. Yeah. It's Friday.
There it
We're
is.
going bowling this weekend with the family. We're going to take the kids to do some fun stuff tomorrow. So, you know, I hope other people, especially those here in the Twin Cities area where things have just been heavy, I really hope people get a chance to either get out or, you know, even if you stay in, just do something to take your mind off the seriousness of the world.
Yeah. Well, Georgia, I figured that you would just flex on the fact that you put $65 million into the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show and you didn't want to show up, so you ain't got to show up. That's what I thought.
Well, you know, 65.
I love our team, and I just love the fact that Brother Mac and I have brilliant people around me who don't have to show up to our meetings for it to be a successful show. That's all. Don't get me wrong now. The person who pulls up to our production meeting the most right about now is Georgia. But now with everything happening in Minneapolis, we ain't seen Georgia since it's been real on the streets over there. So obviously we hold it down for her. But Brother Max said he ain't coming to no production meeting. So yeah, we make it work though. We make it work.
Georgia, man, I'm not feeling like this is a happy Friday right now. Ben's beating me up.
No, it works, but Georgia in the seat.
Well, I mean, but in fairness, let's transparency, you know, it is Black History Month, and I don't think that Dr. Mack needs to prepare for that. I mean, I don't know how many calendars you've done, but you know Black history better than anybody in this country.
Thank you, Georgia. I don't know if I know it better than anybody, but Georgia, that's right. You get on Ben. Georgia's our peacekeeper. I always need her here, Ben, when you want to jump on me like that.
Listen, man. Listen. I love the colloquialisms that Brother Mac comes up with. Like my favorite to this date is when I was trying to see who he knew that could help me out. He said, "Well, Ben, you know, when I really put my mind to it, my Rolodex gets real interesting." And I said, man, that is some of the smoothest stuff I have ever heard. This brother say, if I really put some effort into it, we can get some interesting folks on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. So while he is not coming to production meetings and while he is not investing a dime in our show, he's definitely helped connect us with some really great people, man. So Brother Mac, you are, you know, You're a great person yourself, man. So I'm not jumping on you.
Dr. Max said Carter G. Woodson did not help create Black History Month for him to have to come to production meetings.
Thank you. Thank you, Dwayne. There you go. From the voice of God.
Brother Mac, if you're getting beat up, you know you've made it.
There you go, David.
Wait. No. Hang on. White people have to ask permission to speak on this show, David. I'm joking. David is the hardest working white man I've ever met in my life. I'm just messing with you, David. Anyway, somebody give us a story. Let's not actually, so that we don't have to make such a hard transition. We're going to hold the obvious for a second. I want to get you guys' insight, or really just your opinion on a story that I am so excited about. I'm a musician. I don't really tell people a lot of that because I do politics. But when I saw that Snoop Dogg purchased Death Row Records, I don't know if you guys saw it. We could bring the clip, the summary on the screen. That made my morning. We've been talking about rights, royalties, India.Arie and her rights to her work over at Spotify. And the core of all of this is really who has ownership, not only of your music, but of the company behind it. And so Snoop, NPR is reporting that the rapper is now in charge of Death Row Records, from whence he came. What are y'all thoughts about this?
My thoughts, I think they need to change the name because I feel like there's power in words. There's a spiritual saying, life and death is in the power of the tongue. And it just seemed like Death Row Records, in light of everything that happened to Tupac and with Biggie and then with Suge, it felt like it summarized and it was almost a prophecy, right, of what was going to happen to them. And so I'm glad that he now owns the royalties, but I hope he does some rebranding. I hope that's the first thing he does, is invest in some rebranding to set the company on a better, healthier trajectory.
Well, for me is if he bought the rights to Death Row, and obviously, at least from what I understand, is Death Row was owned by Suge. So does that mean that he's paying off Suge? And where is Suge right now, right? So what does, is Suge in prison?
Isn't he locked up?
That's right. So is now Suge Knight getting paid? That's, so that's part of it. And then the other thing is, does he own the rights? Because Suge had the rights to a lot. And as we know that when Dr. Dre left, whatever music Dre made at the time, Suge now owns that. So given that everybody understands, the controversy behind Death Row Records, is Snoop going to do the right thing and now say to Dre, here, man, here are your masters back. You earned them. They're yours. What's going to happen like that? So, to your point, Georgia, given the nature of what we knew Death Row Records to be and some of the things that they did that, may have been a little gangster. Is Snoop, what's he going to do now with those masters, especially that music that he knows belongs to Dre, that was Dre's artistic development? Is he now going to return that back to him? Or, does he look at the capitalistic society and say, look, I bought this thing. Suge's going to get paid because I bought him from Suge. I don't even know if Suge Knight still owns all the rights to him, even though he's still locked up, So it'd be kind of interesting to figure out all that.
I need to pull in our resident expert.
DJ I don't think so. Yeah, because I saw that it said it was owned by NKMG Records. So it looks like Death Row may have been a subsidiary of another record label, which probably was acquired from when Suge went to jail. So they probably still own a lot of that, majority of that. But I really think, I'm not certain. I was just trying to see if Dr. Dre did own any of his masters, and I'm not finding anything. Only a case where he did when the digital rights to The Chronic. So, and that was in 2015. So, not even sure about the rest of this stuff, but I think The Chronic was the only album that Dre had on Death Row. So,
but let's be clear, yes, Dre's not hurting. Let's just be clear.
He's really not at all, Georgia. Because don't forget, he owned Aftermath Records and still has a lot of stuff production wise and everything else. So
Beats by Dre.
Beats by Dre, which he also partnered with Apple Music with Apple.
You don't need to say anything else. After he came out with Beats by Dre, that was a wrap. I mean, his next 10 generations are set. He's good. He's not hurting, but it's the principle. And I do think that when you talk about the evolution of the music industry, and, you know, we always talk about equity and diversity in corporations, but what about equity in entertainment industries, in the music industry specifically, where we saw historically these contracts that were so exploitative? And one of the people I think really led and pioneered equity in the music industry was Prince. Of course, you know, I would say that because I'm from Minnesota, right? But when you look back, I mean, even when he wrote Slave on the side of his face, everybody thought he was going crazy. What he was really talking about was the way that these contracts exploit artists, take advantage of artists. And oftentimes there's little to no incentive for people to sign these contracts because they're that exploitative. So I love to see Snoop being in a position where he's able to maybe reconcile some of the harm that was done to him and other artists on Death Row Records. I would like to think in recent interviews that I've heard from him, he's matured to the point where I do think he's going to try to do the right thing here. I don't necessarily think this was 100% about money. I don't think this was a money move. I think this was about reconciling the harm that had been done, the way he had been taken advantage of as a young artist, and potentially some other folks who he's still friends with. Yeah.
And, you know, Georgia, you know, and I echo your sentiments about Prince. And so a lot of us didn't understand why Prince changed his name. But, you know, there's an interview where Prince talks about the exploitation of record companies against the artist and their creativity. But there's another brother that, you know, I'd hope that everybody could go back and look at a documentary on. His name is Clarence Avant. And Clarence Avant they called him the Black Godfather. And I believe that documentary is on Netflix. And I would just implore everybody to just go back and look at it and just look at his DNA and his fingerprints on the entire entertainment industry. And one of the things that Avant fought for is for these artists to now own their own masters. And so he set the blueprint for a lot of that as well. So in addition to Prince, please go back and try to look up, and I think the name of the documentary is The Black Godfather, and it's about Clarence Avant, and just an absolutely powerful, brilliant man that fought behind the scenes for our people and to be able to make sure that they get equity into their musical talents.
Yeah. I have not seen it yet, but I've been meaning to watch it. I've heard so much about it.
Please watch it.
Yeah, and they did say it is on Netflix. It is on Netflix.
Yes.
They said,
Yes, an absolutely powerful, powerful documentary. And when you start looking at the number of people that he was influencing, he was touching, and he was helping, and being right there. And I'll just give you this as an example. You being right there in Atlanta, when in one of the scenes they talk about the late great Hank Aaron. When Hank Aaron was approaching breaking Babe Ruth's record, he went to Coca-Cola, and Hank Aaron was a very quiet Southern man and didn't really understand the marketing value of what could become him based on the fact that he's now about to become the home run king. And Avant just made a phone call to Coca-Cola and told him, I'm coming to see the president of Coca-Cola, and told him, right now, this man is on the verge of becoming the home run king. He's in Atlanta, right here in your front yard, not your backyard, but in your front yard, and you need to sign an endorsement contract with him. And he said, besides, don't you understand that ends drink Coke too? I'm not going to say the word, but that's what he said. He said that thing, that blunt. And as a result, Hank Aaron got a huge contract from Coca-Cola. Just one of the things. You know what I think I'm going to
do? I think what I want to do, Brother Mac, you just inspired me. I'm going to go to every advertiser for Joe Rogan and say, give us your diversity and inclusion budget and just juxtapose our content to his, and let's see what meritocracy really is, right? Let's see, because you talk about that. That's a brilliant strategy. I would not have thought about that unless you placed it in historical context. Like, one of the ways we have to start showing that that these people who are at the top of the mountain on Fox News, it's so ridiculous what goes for news these days. Georgia, you know that first and foremost on the front line of this, right? If you put the quality that we do juxtaposed to anybody in this country, I guarantee you we will outdo their numbers, right? So yeah, Brother Mac, thank you for that historical perspective. I got an idea.
Yeah, let me also give you just one other quick story. So all of us can relate to one of the top entertainment pieces that used to come on, Soul Train, right, with Don Cornelius. It became so incredibly popular that now all of a sudden Dick Clark wanted to do his version of Soul Train. And Clarence Avant went down to New York City and told them right now, if you were to allow Dick Clark to do this, I would lead a protest outside of here that'll give you so much grief. And as a result, now, and if you remember, Dick Clark did his version of Soul Train. It was there for a minute, but then they end up taking it apart. And you got to remember, when Don Cornelius wanted to do Soul Train, these white folks didn't see the value of it. But then how many black households could say they don't remember tuning in to Soul Train? So when they saw how much of us were supporting this, now all of a sudden, here comes Dick Clark, Mr. Entertainment, Mr. White Boy. I want to sneak in and I'm going to do his version of Soul Train. Clarence Avant told him, you're going to pull that, and you're going to pull it right now. And he wasn't talking to the damn station managers. He was talking to the powers that be at these major networks that was trying to promote their white version of Soul Train via Dick Clark. Like American Bandstand wasn't enough. Now he got to get it all.
I feel like that is, the history repeats itself. I feel like we've heard that story in so many other aspects of entertainment and in fashion. I mean, the list goes on and on. Black culture is hot. It's popping. We are the ones who set the trends. And then, they try to come back around and make it palatable. And the saying, imitation is the highest form of flattery. Yes. And it's also, it's really damn annoying when people just try to copy you. Go get some culture for yourself.
but Georgia, but think about this. Let us all remember when rap music first came out. They branded it as devil music, is exploitive, is horrible. Today, there ain't a product being sold in America that ain't using rap music. Not one product in America.
Not one at all. You said that, right. Dr. Mac. Everything is going to be a rap song. Somebody's rap song. Flamin' Hot Cheetos, Megan Thee Stallion. Come on now.
Hey, man. I got my made money off of it, bro. I got my Megan knees back. I'm out doing yoga again. I was like, wait a minute, I'm down here with my Megan knees. I'm like marching band back 2000. What year was it? I forget. Never mind.
But Ben, and George,
Ben. We can't say that. We can't say that number, Ben.
Here's an interesting thing that in line with this of the talent of Black folks and how it's exploited. So last night, my son was giving me a review of the second chapter of Before the Mayflower, the book by Lerone Bennett, which I would employ everybody to read Before the Mayflower. It's a beautiful, simplistic history book about our experience in this country. And so in this book, they were talking about the first Africans that came to this country. And when they came there, they was talking about how white folks described the talent and brilliance of these first Africans. And they said that this one white man said, these Negroes are like monks. It's like they know everything. They know how to go to the waters and get food and resources. They understand the lands and the climate conditions for planting rice, of which they didn't know. He said they even understand and how to predict the weather, So it's kind of like when you were sitting on the front porch and your grandmama would say, it's a beautiful spring day. My bunions hurt. I think a storm's coming.
My kneecap.
My knee hurt.
Right.
I got a little water in my elbow. My elbow is telling me it's going to rain at about 3:00 tomorrow.
So that's real stuff. When it gets cold or when it rains.
Right. So the lesson here is back to what we're talking about. The same with rap music. All of a sudden we bring our culture and flair into it. And they began to capitalize and use that. First, they want to degrade of what we aren't good at, but these things that we have, this knowledge that we have becomes the fabric of American capitalism.
The very fabric. Can't sell a thing in this country without blackness.
You couldn't grow it without us when we first came here. So.
Okay,
y'all better say that. Okay, right, George. Y'all better say that.
Pass the selection plate around here now.
You just remember now that sermon came from
show my age for real.
Dropout.
Brother Mac, I got my title now. I got my title. Thank you. I'm trying to be like Brother Mac when I grow up. He's a Sunday school dropout. I'm a pastoral dropout. That's why we have trap music in between sessions. So I heard somebody had a problem with the music, James. Somebody in the chat room had a problem with the music.
Oh, he's been dismissed because if y'all and excuse me, everybody, I'm so sorry for not looking at the screen. But I was just looking at the screen because apparently he tried to get slick with my mama. But brother Chuck Diesel took care of it. So I'm like, wait a damn minute, what I miss? I was gone for 1 second, and Mama then said, bring it. I think Mama then snapped on the man. So Chuck Diesel probably did us all a favor because when Mama,
I just need the audience. I need the audience to understand the score here. My hands are shaking, man. He messing with Mama Gwen.
My heart and soul.
He tried to come for your woman, Dr. Matt.
And he's gonna have some real problems, player. You got some real problems coming up against Mama Gwen. You know how, especially with Valentine's Day right around the corner.
Oh Lord!
Right.
Oh, it just got real.
It was his first time here. He didn't know. He couldn't have known any better because he was the one that said something about the music being loud. And I was like, "Can you hear me now, Michael? Michael, can you hear me? Okay, cool." But he got dismissed, so he's gone.
Let's see.
Shout out Chuck Diesel.
I do want to respect and honor the time that we are now engaging in these shenanigans in. This is actually allocated time to On the Clock with investigative independent journalist Georgia Fort, who on normal days
I am here for it.
I just want to make sure I recognize that because this is your house right now, and we're just here. So we only have a few minutes left, but where do you want to go from here, Kat?
No, I mean, this is great. I think it's Friday and this is what everybody needs. We need to be able to just laugh and joke and value our culture and value and celebrate each other and what we bring to the table and, amplify the wins, even just talking about Snoop. And here we are years later and he's in a position to be able to reconcile things. I think stuff doesn't always have to be so heavy. So I think it's important that every now and then, we let loose a little bit, especially when it's Friday, and just create space for people to laugh. Like the thing that bothers me the most about mainstream media, I feel like, is that we continuously show up on screen when it's usually the most traumatic, and there's not a lot of spaces that celebrate Black joy. So we have to cultivate that space.
This space looks amazing. David, I'm just now seeing this. Shout out to David for this format. Because y'all know I listen to the show. I don't really watch the show. Every now and then I click on and see what's on the screen now. Damn it, David, this looks
upgraded.
Good, bruh.
Did we upgrade? I'm here for it. I'm here for all of this.
I'm sorry. Our resident white man, speak up, man. Come on. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, no. We needed a facelift. We needed to clean up and update ourselves. So we done that.
This looks amazing, man. For real. High key.
Now if we can just get those pictures up, it'll be good to go.
Yeah, but Ben, I would tell you this is, when I took my hiatus and I was going through my transformation and to come back, big props to both Dwayne and David for just an absolute incredible job of pulling this all together. So kudos to the voices behind the scene. You brothers are incredible, and thank you so much for making Georgia look as queen-like as she is.
Hey,
I'm pointing for people wondering what I'm doing. I have been owing Dwayne a shout out to his company for over a year.
Are you fired? You fired?
Fired, Georgia. Fired.
He's been patient with me, and he kind of he ain't put the pressure on me. I said, man, represent because you holding it down for us as well. So shout out to Dwayne.
Nice. That's on the public feed. I didn't even think about that. Nice. Yeah. Done Right Media, everyone.
Well, I've talked over the break, James and Georgia. I've talked over your entire segment. I'm going to shut up here and yield the floor.
I'm glad somebody was talking because listen, it's Friday. I would have just stayed in the bed. Shout out to everybody who woke up this morning and they went through 10 different excuses to not get out the bed, but they still got out the bed and they still went to work or school or wherever they were supposed to go. Shout out, because that's the biggest victory, right? When you just want to lay there. I just wanted to lay in bed. I know I'm not the only person who does that, because I be seeing y'all in Slack. James, I know you be. I overslept. Ben, he be like, I'm gonna be an avatar today. I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one.
If y'all let me not see, I have the perfect face for radio. If y'all just let me put an avatar up, y'all don't ever have to see me. I would do the show honestly from the beach or from somewhere. But I'm with you, Georgia. I agree.
I just wanted to be an avatar today, but here I am, so that's the biggest victory for the day.
Oh, man. Well, we love it. Georgia Ford, we love everything that you do.
Yes, we do.
Yes, indeed, Georgia. All right, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. More coming up on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Georgia Ford, take us out, sister. You got it?
Hey.
Myself looks so deceiving. Trying to fight back this far from easy. I've seen your hands. Delilah, don't you know I've seen your hands. Delilah, don't you know heart turn cold. Lost
Picture on the moon. I kind of like that idea.
Beautiful distraction.
Have an avatar day where we have avatars.
I really let my guard down, now relax.
Laura Estrada, good morning to you, Laura.
Taking with too much, put in my all and got nothing back.
Kelton Davis, we hope the little one is okay. Good morning to you and
Why
welcome.
you gotta do me like that? Don't say you love me, then go and leave me. It can get ugly, trust and believe me. Say it to myself, looks so deceiving. Trying to fight back this far from easy. I've seen your hands. Delilah, don't you know I've seen your hands. Delilah, don't you know I gave you all of me.
Tiger, that's what I'm thinking. I want an animated avatar, like one from MetaQuest or something.
My own and psycho. I can't believe. Don't say you love me, then go and leave me. It can get ugly, trust and believe me. Say it to myself, looks so deceiving. Trying to fight back, too far from easy. I've seen your hands. Delilah, don't you know
Justice Draconis. Long time no see. Welcome. Good morning to you. Yo, make sure y'all stay tuned and don't forget we have a patron party tonight. All black everything. You do not want to mention it. When I say all black everything, you don't have to wear all black because the music is going to be all black all night. So be ready for it. Y'all make sure y'all come, man. Check it out. Let's see what magic we're gonna create tonight. Y'all stay tuned, man. We got more coming up next on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Mike and the Night is coming up next. Without Rebecca Azor today, because she out of town. But good morning, Rebecca.
When you turn me around, walk on. When the neighbors yell turn down, we keep it going. Like bum bum bum. Throw it back then rotation.
Infinite content. Good morning.
Just season. Shine bright as that season. Girl, you know you are a jam 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 jam. Jam 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 jam. Jam 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 jam. Sounding like
Real and them. Good morning.
Jam 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 jam.
Good morning, Miss Sophia. Hey, Miss Sophia.
Sounding like you ice on every time. We not like me. We not shine bright like royalty. We not sticky, but they guarantee. And why? So kind of your neck is falling. You been waiting on me to solve it for me.
Six Dragon Daddy. Blackity black. Blacker than my gums, my lips. Blacker than Whoopi's gums. Blacker than Bernie Mac. Blacker than the darkest night. Black as a dark basement with no light coming through.
Sounding like you're wasting every time. Jam, 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 jam. Jam, 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 jam.
That's all Black Queen on tonight, y'all.
Can't you, can you make me feel like we could do? Oh, you make me feel like we could do it all over again, all over again. Can't you, can you make me feel like we could do? Oh, you make me feel like we could do it all over again, all over again. Jam, 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 jam. Jam, 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 jam. Jam, 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 jam. Sounding like you're wasting every time. Jam, 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 jam. Jam, 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 jam. Jam, 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 jam. Sounding like you're wasting every time. Sounding like you're wasting every time.
All right, y'all know what time it is.
Y'all know what time it is. Good morning, y'all. Get your coffee, your tea.
I got a remix in my head that I'm thinking on, so I'm working on it. Black Dragon, love you too.
9 a.m. to 10:30, yeah. Like it or not, is on your channel, yeah.
Not yet, infinite content.
Culture is we change scan like we're supposed to.
Smash! Good morning to you.
All the news, we get to choose what gets the views. Like it or not, with Queen Azor, it's starting now, so stick around.
Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, Rebecca Azor is coming through. You know she got a good story for you. Oh, Benjamin, that's my dog. This is his show. He's a politics bro. I am your DJ exclusive. Y'all know who I am.
I stay dropping them jams.
Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not,
she started her Valentine
around. Oh, like it or not, it's starting now.
Y'all know what's about to
like it or not,
this is about to go down.
Like it or not, with Benjamin Dixon, starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, brother DJ.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth.
And not care who doesn't like it.
We don't.
Dang, Dr. Matt. That's what I say. We could have get Dr. Matt to say that part.
Yeah, but he don't want to come to no damn production meeting, so I can't give him a...
You might have to
I've been so serious about my production meetings and nobody shows up.
You might have to try that again in March. He might be more receptive.
Right.
Only people who show up to my production meeting is me and David and Josh.
Damn, I'll be there. I'll be there. It's in spirit.
It's crazy because I said, no, look, it's crazy because I was like, I should be able to do the production meetings at 8 o'clock. But every time that message comes through in Slack and it's like meeting in 5 minutes, I'd be like hands deep in a diaper or doing something. And it's like, well, I just ain't going to make it tonight. So I'll see everybody.
Every night,
Dwayne, mine come through. When I see it come through this. Yeah, the blackness in me. I'm not gonna lie to you. The black man just come out and be like, "Oh, meeting in 5 minutes." Like, all right, I'm gonna log in, and then I end up going to sleep.
He's probably just saw the message and goes, "Let the white man work. Let the producer speak."
David, this is what I literally say in my head is like, all I do is spin records. I don't need to do no damn production meetings. I'm like, Dr. Matt. All I do is spin records.
Well, it's not quick. It's not quick. Who spin records? Who spin records?
See the way.
Like, man, we didn't got this down to a science now. All I gotta do is press buttons. As long as y'all send me the clips I need, all I gotta do is press buttons.
As long as y'all tell me what the story is, 9 times out of 10 they ain't gonna know what the story. Blue.
Blue. All you do is spin records. Blue. That's who it was. I knew somebody, boy. Man, Dr. Mac, being the philosopher king that you are, how what do you have to add to this foolishness going on the screen?
Hey, man, given that my phone is on silence on any text that talks about production meetings, I ain't got much to say.
That's very convenient.
Hey, but let me tell you why, though. Listen, you guys are so incredibly efficient that I just call in the morning. I go, David, what's the scoop? David gives it to me. I do my research. Usually I got some insight to it, but David just tells me, hey, this is where we're going. So you guys are so good, man. I want to thank you for always being there. You're going to get a star for perfect attendance. David, doing what you're doing. Dwayne already knows his craft. DJ spins music in the middle of the night. Hey, if the process ain't broke, let's not fix it.
Amen, Dr. Matt.
And there it is. So production meetings every night at 8 p.m. Maybe we'll... the salesman in me was getting ready to come out, but I'm going to hold the salesman.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
And I have a question, and she probably going to get me when I ask this question. How many of these meetings Rebecca be at? Y'all worry about me and Dwayne and Dr. Matt.
Same number of shows she been on time, too.
Queen, I want the record to reflect, Queen. I'm proud of that comment.
You know, considering my snark at Rebecca yesterday, I do have to say I think that Rebecca and James have attended very similar volumes of meetings.
You go to hell, David. You go to hell right now. But it's you're in hell, you die.
Like they come through and
this
it's is like,
probably true.
Wait. Is this really a meeting? Because there's some unusual people here.
I can't get no respect. None. None whatsoever. Okay.
I think that's what we're
must Ben and David carry the production meeting all alone and all the rest of the team go free?
Yes.
There's the link for everyone.
Since this is like an after party before the after party, I'm just gonna, just pull the curtain off and say the best nights, or actually the worst nights, were when Ben was like, David, just figure out something to put on the show. And I end up being up to like 2 a.m. loading a bunch of videos. And then we don't use anything.
And then we don't use them.
And see, I'm usually up, David. I'm usually up at 2 a.m. So I'm responding to your email, to your text messages about what's coming on. So Ben, from now on, we're going to call you Ben Dangerfield. Rodney Dangerfield Dixon. No respect.
Give me no respect. No respect.
None, man. None. I just built the whole thing and I can't get no goddamn respect. I swear to God.
Hero, man.
It's okay. Well, actually, I got to rephrase that because, I ain't build the whole thing. Not this time around. Like this is something new. This is something, and I love what it is. Right? Everybody's carrying their piece, and this is the only thing I say about it. I've learned a rule of leadership is give your team room enough to challenge you. If you don't give your team room enough to challenge you, you ain't going to be as efficient as you can be. And I swear to God, we're the most efficient show on the face of the planet. So,
well Ben, let me say this, man. So right now, this whole topic of conversation is taking me back to one of my favorite Black movies, Mo Better Blues, where Bleak and the character that was played by Wesley Snipes got into an argument. And Wesley was like, man, you can't hear nobody's music but your own. What's the problem? And Bleak, played by Denzel Washington, says, you see the marquee? Until the day that your name is on the marquee, until that mystical, magical day that your name is on the marquee, you're going to play my music the way I want it played. So Ben, my name ain't on the marquee. So you do what you need to do, player.
What Dr. Mac said. What Dr. Mac has said.
My God. Well,
my name ain't on the marquee, so I ain't got to be at no goddamn. Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis.
Bubba, that's what I was thinking the whole time. Ain't nobody come to see you.
Right.
the mistake you made, Brother Mac, was giving us your headshot and Ben telling me to make you to put you up on there with the whole team.
Oh, wait.
Because then when we put you on the picture,
we are the marquee,
put it up.
Just go to YouTube. Just go to YouTube. You're actually, you might not be.
Yeah, sitting there looking all mean. Sitting there looking like he gonna hit somebody across the head of the white meat. Put up that picture.
Dr. Matt, if I'm on the marquee, I got to start making the production meetings if I'm on the marquee.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Okay, then, Dwayne, when you get a chance, pull up Dr. Mac on the marquee. I know it's like in dead smack in the middle of our opening credits, so that's going to take a minute. We'll get back to that in a second. Where should we go? What's that?
Dr. Mac.
I missed that one. So I wanted to laugh, but I missed that one.
It is this simple. I want to be in the rear with the gear, faceless, nameless, but showing up when you need me.
Yeah, man. Listen.
Boom, there it is.
Listen. I don't. It works, like you said. So if it don't break, it ain't broken.
So Ben, if we tie this to Black history, and today because we honor Daniel Chappie James, this great pilot, you just got to imagine that you got the stick and I'm your wingman. I got
That's
you
it.
six.
There we go.
I got you six.
Why we are on this particular journey, we do not know. I'm sorry, I just had a Independence Day moment. Anybody who watches Independence. Oh, and listen, can I geek out for a minute? We are seriously following at the show. At least I am. All of us, because we've been covering it dang near every day. The Joe Rogan Spotify story from a musical perspective, to be honest with you, not only from a musical perspective on behalf of India Irie, but from a ownership perspective of how artists are able to make a living off of their work versus being exploited. We've been covering that pretty intensely. I'm so excited, y'all. Pretty soon we're gonna have one of my heroes. I'm a nerd. Y'all got to forgive me. Alex Winter. He is Bill S. Preston Esquire from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. He's going to come on the show, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. He's not a musician, but he's an activist, and he really wants people to have that kind of a power with their gift. Like, if you make this kind of music, you should be able to live off that music for the rest of your life. There should not be poor and impoverished rappers and R&B singers who made companies millions of dollars, and now they're starving while Spotify is sending all that money to Joe Rogan. So Alex Winter, Bill S. Preston Esquire, is going to be joining the show in a couple weeks here. We're going to get him on.
But you know, that's dope. And, you know, what has to be remembered is this. It's not the fact that folks, I think, are upset at the amount of money that Rogan is making. If his talent demands that or commands that type of salary, fine, cool, no problem. God bless you with that. But to think that you're going to make, that the company is going to make the kind of money they make on the backs of these artists, and in particular Black artists, and now you're going to pay him that amount of money with the money that you're making off of my talent, and this man is going to be dropping what arguably the most explosive derogatory word in the English language on the regular, and think that I'm going to be a part of that? No, that is why I am absolutely so proud of what Sister India Irie did. And I would pray, you know, trust and believe. You know, now the owner of Spotify says, well, no, we shouldn't censor him. We ought to be able to let him. Yeah, I agree. Let him speak his mind. Let him speak his piece. But there comes a point of cultural and racial insults. And see, now, trust and believe. The owner of Spotify saying he's going to stand behind Rogan. Let the woman who owns the internet, you know her better as Beyonce. Let Beyonce and Jay-Z pull out music. Let's see how much you want to let stand behind Rogan at that point.
Yeah, you just made me grab. I don't even got no pearls, but I just clutched them. Just the thought of it alone. Matter of fact, they don't even. Go ahead.
But I want to say this, Ben. But in light of the fact that those two big names, or maybe any others, don't do it, just know that in the profiles of our history and our culture, India Irie's name will live again in that great level of pantheons of people who showed a cultural sensitivity, a cultural responsibility. And for that, she wears her crown as queen regal. Thank you, Sister.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, and real quick, there was another and here, of course my camera went out. But we have another announcement of somebody else that has pulled the music from Spotify. Dwayne, can you drop that image real quick?
Really? Hang on, let me pull my screen up so I can see. Oh man. Wait a minute. How you gonna put that on the screen with? Wait a minute. And then Bubba ain't even on the screen with us. Cephas and Reese. Okay. Now you got to be deep in the black culture to understand why this is so goddamn hilarious. And the person who shared it, what's my man name? He was Mr. Carmichael on the Carmichael show. David Allen Greer. David Allen Greer was the one who shared this image on Twitter. Man, that thing had me rolling. What was it? 2 snaps up. 2 snaps up. Y'all in trouble now, Joe Rogan. Y'all in trouble. They done pull their music. It's a game changer. Oh man.
But Ben, the interesting thing is, and he goes right back to the playbook. So, now he wants to play the victim behind this thing of saying somebody has pulled together a collage of all of me saying these words and now wants to speak like it's so unfair, but now come out and say it's one of the most embarrassing points in my life. Well, player, if that video clip has you dropping that explosive, derogatory, insulting term 20 plus times, and it was never embarrassing to you. It was never regretful to you. The only reason it's become regretful is because now, as what happens with cockroaches, when the light is shined, you want to scatter. And now you want to go to the playbook that America always wants to use. Right. Oh, I'm so sorry. Now that I've said I'm sorry, forgive me, and let's move on.
Let's move on.
No, it ain't going to be like that, player.
Nah, we ain't just moving on. Well, it's Cephas and
Reese's.
They pull their music. Y'all are in trouble. No, I'm sorry. I'm joking. I want to circle back to the Dave Chappelle conversation real quick before we get ready to be joined by our partners at Act TV. We are engaging in the depths of technology as well as being on the cutting edge of bringing news and breaking the news to you without breaking you is the way I see it. I want us to circle back before we get to all that and finish the conversation about Dave Chappelle, because I just need some clarification. I'm not, normally I don't talk about a story until I know all the details, like all the different nuances. And I'm not completely clear on one thing here. Is the development going forward and just going forward without the low income component, or is the entire thing now stopped? Because that I think that's an important question to flesh out before we get out of here.
So it was my understanding that the first proposal that the developer brought forward was not approved. And so now he comes in with this low income housing component of it, I believe, to get approval. And again, that low income aspect of the development was only 3 of 143 units. But let's be clear about what Chappelle and his spokesperson said, and I want to read the quote. They said, "Neither Dave nor his neighbors are against affordable housing. However, they are against the poorly vetted, cookie-cutter, sprawl-style development deal, which has little regard for the community culture and infrastructure of the village." And those are legitimate reasons why a person should look at any proposed development that comes into play. And you got to remember, and there is not a community in this country in which, when a proposal is made for new development, that they don't open it up for the community to provide input. And here you're finding people who care about the culture, the infrastructure of the community, and they've simply reined in. This little piece where they're trying to make it all about affordable housing, this is very disingenuous to Dave Chappelle and, as far as I'm concerned, the people of Yellow Springs, Ohio.
I hear you, Brother Mac, and I'm if it is the case, because and I guess we could go to the article, David, if you would, let's find the most recent information, because my understanding was that everything that you said is true about how if you bring in this much urbanization, you go from rural to urban, And if you have not done all the necessary engineering things required to do that, you destroy a community.
Yes.
No doubt. But I got a sneaking suspicion that this project is going forward anyway, and only going forward without the low income component. So aren't they going to be confronted with this? And if I'm wrong, David, please correct me.
So I'm looking. I'm not sure exactly what I'm about to read. I just know it's official statements out of the parties involved. This is from CNN 16 hours ago. According to the Dayton Daily News, a plan for Oberer, I don't know how to pronounce it, homes can move forward, but without the affordable housing that originally had been planned as part of a development of single-family homes, townhomes, and duplexes to be built on the 53-acre area at the south edge of town. The publication said the village had been working with Oberer on the development. In a statement, yesterday on Thursday, Chappelle's publicist, Carla Sims, wrote, quote, Dave Chappelle didn't kill affordable housing. Concerned residents and a responding village council, quote, killed a half-baked plan which never actually offered affordable housing. Chappelle, who plans to open a restaurant and comedy club in the area under his name, Iron Table Holdings LLC, was one of several who spoke out Monday during a village council meeting about the project.
And so, Ben, what that's saying is, if you read and think carefully about what it's saying, the original plan that was proposed by this developer was opposed by Dave Chappelle. And so now they bring in the affordable housing thing. And then what does all of the media do? They do exactly what we say media does when it comes to Black folk. If you just simply read the headline, you would think that Dave Chappelle opposes affordable housing. And that is not the case. You're talking about a development plan that had, again, 143 lots. And of those 143, 3 of them were proposed under the title of, quote, affordable housing. And they were to be built in the, quote, future. So I believe that Chappelle, based on the original plan, proposed it. I think many of the people of Yellow Springs did not approve of the original plan. And so now they bring this affordable housing thing in. And I think from a strategic standpoint, it would be, okay, we know that Chappelle has clout in this city. He's invested millions and millions of dollars in this city, and he's the big voice that we need to go after. So let's add this affordable housing piece to it, which again is only 3 units of the 143 lots. And let's phrase it as though Dave Chappelle opposes affordable housing. And if you simply read the headline, yes, it's going to create a gut reaction to you that's not very good. But in fact, again, as Dr. King gave us the word morass, this is a complex situation, and your questions are very valid. But what is clear is that Dave Chappelle, the brother that we know, respect for his genius and his love of humanity, and I do believe he has that, it just does not fit who we know of him as a man. But this is the way society is. You find somebody, and if you can find a chink in their armor who you thought were your supporters, now all of a sudden want to shoot darts at you. But I guarantee you that as we go further and further into this, and trust and believe, Chappelle is going to come out and he's going to give his own explanation to it. And when you sit down and listen to it, you will find that this was a situation where the media is trying to gaslight Dave Chappelle, in my opinion.
Okay. I'm processing this now. Apologies to everybody who's listening, because I normally don't take on a case without knowing all the particulars enough to be able to get to the essential question. But Dr. Mack, I want to ask a couple questions here.
Sure.
If it turns out that this project is still going forward, meaning they're going to put the same number of units, they're going to put the same number of urban sprawl in the midst of their cherished rural community. If it is the case that this project is still going forward with the blessing of Dave Chappelle, and the only thing that is different is the low income housing component, would that change your mind about your analysis?
Yes, it would. And I don't think that's the case. But if the situation evolves the way that you said it would, it absolutely would. But I don't believe, based on what I've been able to read, that is where Dave Chappelle's problem is. Again, there is a certain cultural look of Yellow Springs. There is the infrastructure needs of Yellow Spring. If you bring in all of these housing, you bring in all of these people, there's the safety, the traffic. All of these issues are issues that he has clearly said are problematic for him.
And slack.
So I don't believe that Chappelle was even in favor of the first proposal that didn't include the quote 3 units of the 143 units. So, but if the situation lays out the way that you said, yeah, it would change my viewpoint.
All right. Perfect timing. We got to take a break. When we come back, our partners at Act TV, they're joining us. We'll be back after this.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stretch, shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no giving. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep.
All right, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. We have our partners from Act TV joining us next. So make sure that you stay tuned here on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show.
Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. Plus a family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem, man.
Don't forget tonight it goes down. Patron party tonight. Patron party tonight. Make sure that you are in the building this evening. Don't want to miss it all. It is going to be a jam. Good morning, Lily. I see you. Good morning. Thomas Anderson, what's going on?
Yeah, ain't no L's, I gotta get it, no call to quit. Yeah, gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets. Yeah, better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
Take care, cause that man is trouble.
Shout out, brother Luke Kane. Peter Griffin, good morning to you.
I know I might be headed for
yes, I have, Peter. I've been watching it, and I really love it.
I just can't stop. No.
Seahorn, good morning to you.
I love you, baby.
Laverne, good morning.
I can't let you go, baby. I gotta tell you that I won't. I've been looking for love so true. When I was down and out, along came you.
Love you too, Alicia.
See you tonight. And you too. I just can't quit you now, cause I love you. Yes,
Other girls, good morning. That, hey, I know you still waiting here too much, hey. Good morning.
Cause I love you, baby.
Luke Kane, I've been watching bits and pieces of the new Demon Slayer, but I need to go back and finish it because the sub and everything, I'll be like, okay, yeah. But I'm gonna be watching it. Castlevania, I haven't watched it. Dang, season 4. Cloud Machine, I appreciate you.
Baby, I'm gonna stay right here, and I don't mean maybe.
Okay, cool.
I can't let you go.
Shout out Latif, the little one Malia over there jamming. He said, "Hey Malia, good morning."
I can't let you go.
All right, y'all, welcome back to the screen. My brother from another mother, Benjamin Dixon, and Dr. Carl Mack.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. It is February 11, 2022, and I am so excited to finally have an opportunity to share with you all our partners, Act.tv. You've seen their logo in our videos for some time. It's a partnership that we've been on now for nearly 6 months. Act.tv is a progressive media company for political activists. The mission is to create media to empower the people and activists. I want to introduce on the screen Harry Weisbrand. He is the CEO of Act.tv, and Sabrina Williams. She is the COO of Act.tv. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
So glad to be here, Ben.
Awesome. And Sabrina, as always, it's good to share this space with you. I want to first take a minute to continue talking about what Act.tv actually is and what it does. We've been connected now for 6 months, and Act.tv has a very long track record of being on the cutting edge of social media, of live streaming, extending from Occupy Wall Street and other movement efforts. I remember very clearly being unable to attend Occupy Wall Street, but I was able to get coverage of it from some of the what would later become Act.tv. Harry, tell us about that.
So, yeah, I guess in brief, our team first came together when Occupy Wall Street came off the ground. A variety of us found ourselves helping support the social media channels, email lists, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And, Occupy was this political awakening that had all kinds of reverberations, ever since. But it also was an inflection point with a change of technology. It was the first time in America, similarly, like extending from the Arab Spring, where activists could use smartphones with social media on them to become their own communication centers. So you could take photos, videos on a phone, post it to Facebook and Twitter, and all of a sudden, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people could see it around the world. And that's when we first really started digging into live streaming. And there was a process. Act.tv's had a few different names over the years. But I'd say that the core of what we are and the real appreciation that we have for working with movement efforts that have this huge incentive for brilliant and dedicated people to innovate, that's where we really started getting on the cutting edge. And similarly, too, we saw with Occupy and with many movement efforts since, it's really hard when you're sleeping outside in a park or leading direct actions in Ferguson to go cut videos at home or go run a studio. Like having a media company to support these kind of movement efforts is extremely valuable. And that's the hole that Act.tv saw that we've been trying to fill ever since.
Absolutely. And Sabrina, we have a whole lot of clips, but theory versus praxis, like you guys are really the team there. You put everything that Harry is talking about into motion, as evidenced by the partnership that we have together. Just talk about like portions of how the logistics side of how the work is continuously being done at a very meticulous level to implement that vision.
Ben, that's a great question. At the end of the day, I tell everyone I'm on a call with, we here at Act.tv, we are activists. We have other professional skills, let's hope, whether it's production, legal, operations, bookkeeping. But at the end of the day, we are all activists. We work together. There's a lot of back office stuff, much of which I'm responsible for, that it takes to ensure that our partnerships are seamless. We're building rapport with, the progressive community, that our production teams have what they need when they're doing these amazing virtual live streams, when they're out in the field covering events, marches, protests, and actions that mainstream media just isn't covering. And that's why we need people today, the activists out there who are watching, people who want to be activists, people who support progressive ideals, support progressive candidates, support progressive policies and bills. Join our membership program, sign up, find out what's going on, become a patron, and support our work. We are the only organization that I know of that is where mainstream media is not, and that is where the activists are. I think you have a clip that you're going to play a little bit later where I've done my field work too. I'm the COO, but I've definitely done field work and likely will do a lot more. But I was at the State of the Union protest in 2018, interviewing Representative Maxine Waters. And from what I can remember, there was no other mainstream media there. And so that's what is, that's what's important to ACT TV. We're activists and we're asking you all to join us, sign up, go to act.tv, join our membership program.
I want to, Brother Mac, I want to pull you in here, but Sabrina, you mentioned the membership program, and I want to give more details about that. Act.tv is taking our work here at the Benjamin Dixon Show to the next level, and collectively, we are partnering on a membership program because, to be honest with you, you all have a long track record of doing things. Like you're starting a membership program now, but you have actively been doing things since Occupy Wall Street in terms of your philosophical underpinnings. Tell us more, Harry, about the membership program and how people can become a part of it.
Sure thing. And it's really simple. ACT TV, we love our name. Every character in it matters. So like you just go to ACT TV, you could sign up. It's free. We're very interested in enticing members to become paid patrons as well. But like at this stage, we really see this opening in the media space with television transitioning to the internet in particular. Streaming platforms, Netflix, Hulu, et cetera, are the next frontier. And ACT TV with the Benjamin Dixon Show has recently launched our channels on Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV. And we want to use our email list and our members to be a more efficient way of letting our community know what the programming is and making it easy for our audience to be able to watch shows on their TV sets, lean back with their phone or their computer or their tablet and take action while they're watching the show. And there's a bunch of moving pieces to it, but and a lot of reasons where an email list really matters. But a big part of the appreciation we have for Ben Dixon, much as the Benjamin Dixon Show, is we know you guys know membership programs and patron parties, and really excited to be having liftoff with all this work.
That's right. That's right. Dr. Mack.
And so, Harry, let me say this. First of all, thank you so much. And Ben was telling me about the relationship between the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show, the Benjamin Dixon Show, and ACT TV. And to be able to hear the history of how you all came about, Occupy Wall Street, boots on the streets. Basically, it's like changing the way that the movie industry was from mainstream and what Netflix was able to do to independent movie makers. So I can hear that correlation. But let me just be very frank with you about what's the most impressive part about what I'm experiencing now. And it's that sister that's sitting next to you, Sabrina. To be able to see a sister in a position as COO warms my heart. So trust and believe, not only the relationship with the Ben Dixon Show, but to understand that you could see the brilliance of her as a sister. And Sabrina, congratulations, and know that there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there that are very much warming up to ACT TV because we see you in that position. So congratulations, Harry, for having the brilliance and the insight to utilize her talent. And Sabrina, congratulations to you for taking advantage of such an opportunity based on your skill set. We love you, sisters. Very much want to be in support. Thank you.
I was going to say, let me assure everyone that ACT TV, when I say we are activists to our core. We live our values as an organization. You will see lots of diversity around here, not just in our staff, but in our partners and including, and our partners like the Ben Dixon Show, who we love, we support, we're in deep partnership with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we're going to expound on that for months to come. I want to start with a couple of clips. Dwayne, let's actually go with number 3. And this is Sister Sabrina interviewing Maxine Waters.
I'm so thankful that you're here.
We're thankful you're here protecting us.
Absolutely. And this is one of the most important events we do. And that is to get our podcasters in here, talking about issues that don't oftentimes get covered right in the main media. And so I'm looking forward to doing whatever I can to help get the message out about the issues that we're involved with in government, issues that you're concerned about, so that people can be engaged.
So speaking of issues, Trump in just a few hours is going to deliver the 2020 State of the Union. He's going to talk about some things. He's not going to talk about others. What is he going to leave out of his State of the Union speech that you want to hear about and you think the American people want to hear about and should hear about?
Well, let me just say this. I know that the people around him have been trying to coach him into having a positive message and not getting involved in a lot of talk about impeachment. I don't know what he's going to do. He's unpredictable, and he's capable of saying or doing almost anything. The one thing, if I could tell him what he should do, would be, you need to apologize to America for the disruption that you have caused, for the divisiveness that you've been responsible for the lies that you have told. It's time for you to ante up and to say, I've been wrong, and I'm going to change. Now, will he do that? I don't think so. I don't think so. So we have to just look forward to whatever he's going to say. I'm not going to be on the floor when he gives that message. I don't visit when the State of the Union is being done by him and certainly by an impeached president. I will be in my committee room with millennials and others who we will be able to have a discussion as we watch on the screen what he is saying. But again, he's unpredictable.
There's so much in that clip, Sabrina. First, and Harry, thank you so much for making that moment happen. There's a stark difference between. I've been on both. I've been on the social media side where I'm only broadcasting from home. What I love about our partnership is that you give us the ability to be on location. In fact, we're going to in this conversation in real time from the Capitol to demonstrate that. I want to tie that back into you, Sabrina. There are moments that can only happen when you're on the ground. Tell us about that moment.
You're right. There are moments that can only happen when you're on the ground. And luckily, we have some phenomenal partners, movement organizations like Movement for Black Lives, various climate change organizations, Me Too, Indivisible, Congressional Progressive Caucus. I wish I could list all of them. They often tell us, they inform us of actions that are happening on the ground. We have an amazing production crew, many of them who go into the field to Washington, D.C., New York, L.A. We've been everywhere around this country. And again, they bring the actions on the left to everyone. We are amplifying activists' messages, activists' movements, activist campaigns, activist call to action. There's no more important work to be done in this country right now, and ACT TV is doing it, and we need you to be a member. Go to ACT.tv and sign up to be a member today.
And we're going to say that quite a few times this morning. You can tune in. Harry, you expounded on the expansion of the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Now we are accessible via Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. Talk just a little bit more about the technology component and how that technology helps us in the fight for justice.
Sure thing. And also expanding on Dr. Mack's appreciation for Sabrina Williams. Like, oh my God, was it a turning point for our company when we brought Sabrina aboard? And I think that in our history, our trajectory, there was a big change when there was an innovation in broadcast television technology called video uplink hardware, where basically there's like a box or a backpack you can attach to a camera that sends the feed from that camera through various cell phone signals, up to 6 carriers, if not more, to a virtual studio. And that replaces a satellite truck. And that's what allows us to send out lean production crews into the field to get multiple camera angles, multiple shots that we can send to our studios and mix the feeds, add on production layers, and make these what we call cable news style productions. And I'd say, and that workflow is also where we got out ahead of the curve enough, where we were able to help the Bernie 2020 campaign get their live streaming operation off the ground. And yeah, we're really proud of everything that we've done over the years. And I'd say that we're always trying to.
No, I'm sorry, because when you mentioned the Bernie campaign launch, everybody who's followed me knows I've been a big supporter of Bernie Sanders. We have a clip. I want to play clip 2, Bernie's campaign launch, which was Go ahead, Dr. Mack.
Ben, before you go there, and let me say this about, when you all said things that can only happen, when you're on the ground. I'm going to tell you what resonated with me in that clip with Maxine Waters. And I've seen Sister, I knew her grandson very well when I was in Seattle. So, I've watched a multitude of interviews with Maxine. But it was something different about that interview. And I think it was different because Maxine was talking to you, Sabrina. It was two sisters talking, you talking on that political level. But there was something, there was a let your hair down and let me just tell you exactly, there was a relaxing aspect to that interview that I don't think can happen with a white woman. I just don't think it can happen like that. Sabrina, your professionalism was right there. So it was a mix of professionalism, but you getting a chance to sit in the front room and just hear Maxine at her core. That's right. So Sabrina, there was a professionalism that you brought, but the fact that it was two sisters there, that she was sitting across saying, thank you for being here and being able to have, and that's what resonated with me. So Harry, that's why I'm saying to you, it's so important to keep this level of diversity going up, but to be able to bring sisters in that have that skill set. So that's what jumped off at me in listening to Maxine. So I could listen to her even more so. And Sabrina, the questions that you placed to her, the way that she answered it, the beauty of two sisters coming together like that just resonated with me.
Well, they don't call her Auntie Maxine for nothing.
There it is. I knew it was.
She's easy to talk to.
I love it. I love it. Let's run the next clip. Here's Bernie Sanders' campaign launch in connectivity with ACT TV.
I was born literally a few miles away from here on East 26th Street in Kings Highway. And my family and I lived in a 3.5-room rent-controlled apartment. My father was a paint salesman who worked hard his entire life, but never made much money. And my mother raised my brother and me. I learned a great deal about immigration as a child, because my father came from Poland at the age of 17 without a nickel in his pocket, without knowing one word of English. He came to the United States to escape the crushing poverty that existed in his community and to escape widespread anti-Semitism. And it was a good thing that he came to this country, because virtually his entire family was wiped out by Hitler and Nazi barbarism. I am not going to tell you that I grew up in a home of desperate poverty. That would not be true. But what I will tell you is that coming from a lower middle-class family, I will never forget about how money, or really lack of money, was always a point of stress in our family. My mother's dream was that someday our family would move out of that rent-controlled apartment to a home of our own. That dream was never fulfilled. She died young while we still lived in that rent-controlled apartment. My experience as a child living in a family that struggled economically powerfully influenced my life and my values. I know where I came from. And that is something I will never forget.
That's a powerful moment. Harry, tell us about that moment and how ACT TV helped bring it to the people.
Well, and I think a big part of it too is we have this exceptional team. And yes, you're meeting Sabrina here, but I'd also want to lift up our producers, Rebecca Centeno, Will Urquhart, Phil Jacobs, Albert Rimba. Like, we have a fantastic group of producers that, as you can see, like, we're able to not just get that amazing shot of Bernie, but to get the crowd shots, which we care about a lot for making these really feel like movement experiences. And Yeah, I think that one lesson we learned, again, starting at OWS, but also extending through movement efforts since, was that there was this social media-based yearning for someone like Bernie, starting in like 2013, 2014. There was a draft Elizabeth Warren effort that ActTV helped lead. And then I transitioned to supporting Bernie in the primary back then. So when Bernie entered the primary 2019, like we were ready to go. We knew that there was the campaign was going to do much better than people would otherwise expect. And Bernie he loves media. Like he had a public access TV show in the 80s. Like Bernie was able to get far out ahead. And that's where there was such a synchronicity and where we were so proud to help their team get their live streaming operations off the ground. I'd also add that it's not just Bernie by any stretch. When you ask Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez what her top line advice for how to develop a social media following is, she says it's to get right on the issues. Support a Green New Deal, support Medicare for all, support canceling student debt. And that's also something that we've been really proud to support, the Sunrise Movement and all these amazing progressive issues extending since. And I think we have a clip of our coverage of the Sunrise Movement occupation of Speaker Pelosi's office, if you want to play that.
Yeah, Dwayne, let's run that one. That is number 4.
Again, we're here live from Nancy Pelosi's office on Capitol Hill, where hundreds of young climate activists have gathered to demand that Pelosi and other leading Democrats and Congress members endorse a select committee on a Green New Deal as put forth by Representative-elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Some of these young people are risking arrest today as Capitol Hill police have gathered outside of the office. They say that a Green New Deal is the only way that we could ensure climate justice and environmental justice and economic justice.
You guys are on the scene. And one of the things I've noticed in social media in recent months is having the ability to show other people exactly how active the rest of the nation is. You have the Sunrise Movement, you have the labor movements, you have all of these activists, you had people who got on boats and went to protest Joe Manchin, and ActTV was there covering it. Tell us more about that connectivity, showing the people that there are folks out there fighting.
I just want to jump in and say that, ActTV, when it comes to these progressive actions, the Women's March and these climate marches, reproductive justice marches, we are there and we're not mainstream media. You're not getting a 10-second clip and a very watered down, whitewashed version of what's going on. You get typically the entire event, the action, people getting arrested. You're getting the personal narratives, whether it's me, whether it's, Jocelyn McCurdy Keats, our other field producers and folks who interview people on the street. You're getting their personal narrative and what these issues mean to them. You're getting the activist viewpoint, the activist perspective. There's nothing more core to our message and our mission. We are activists and we do what we do for other activists.
Sabrina, the thing that I love the most about watching the Sunrise Movement and all the different areas that both you and Harry are educating us about with ActTV, because certainly I am getting a plethora of information of the very good work that you all have done since Occupy Wall Street to the Sunrise Movement. But the thing that I love is one of the complaints in our community, in the Black community, is that we have been so loyal to the Democratic Party without holding them accountable. And so to see a movement like the Sunrise Movement, where these young folks have gone into the offices of this, Nancy Pelosi and say, yeah, we may have supported you at the ballot, but that doesn't mean that we won't hold you accountable. And so very much so when you take a look at and you juxtapose that type of clip against somebody like Fox News, rarely will you see them showing a protest of right-wingers against Donald Trump, for instance. So to be able to show that, yes, even though we may be of the same political affiliation, it does not mean that we will not hold you accountable. And that is the thing that I love. And as I'm learning about what you all are doing in ActTV, and a tip of the hat to you all for all of that. Yeah. And the only advice that I would give you, this is in the spirit of Bernie Sanders. There is no doubt, because of the mission that you have and the efforts that you're sharing with us and what you're doing in the spirit of Bernie Sanders as you grow, because capitalism has a way of changing folks. Please just always remember your roots and stay humble and true to those roots, and don't chase that dollar. Because as much as folks are tempted to chase that dollar, when you can see that someone is authentic in their body of work, that is what is so very much appealing to me as I sit here before you now. And again, congratulations to you both. And I so appreciate the education level that you've given to us about who ACT TV is, not only to show us in the video clips, but I'm going to go back again, Sabrina. It is wonderful to see you as in such a prominent role, and Harry, to hear the authenticity that resonates from you. I appreciate you so much. And I will now anoint you a brother. So welcome to the fam.
Brother Mac got all the power. He said the black delegation dubs. Go ahead, Sabrina. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, anyone who's sleeping in a tent in Zuccotti Park during Occupy Wall Street is automatically anointed a brother, in my opinion.
Hey, listen, we're going to have to take a quick break. Brother Mac, let me hold it here only because we got to take a quick break. We're going to do a reset. We're going to have to do a couple of resets because we want to bring the live action to you. We're going to bring live action from the Capitol, brought to us by ACT.TV. Go support this progressive media company, ACT.TV. We'll be back with more of the ACT TV Takeover right after this.
You love me so, but now you're saying you have to go, just like the lightning from a clear sky. I wasn't ready to say goodbye ever since you left. When I wake up early in the morning, and when I come home at night, it's covered in darkness, and the sun is out of sight. I guess I'm living in the dark age, because I sure can't see no light. Ever since you left,
all right, y'all make sure y'all face the sky. If the screen stops, make sure that you rejoin.
World a little brighter. The flame was put to rest. Covered in gloom, and my heart is put to the test. I guess I'm living in the dark age.
Lawrence Ryder, this is John Roosevelt featuring Rebel Dave, our favorite.
You left with nothing but a cloud sky, and there's no day, it's only night. You love me so, but now you're saying you have to go, just like the lightning from a clear sky. I wasn't ready to say goodbye ever since